Now that you know how the interface works for SolidWorks, we'll talk a little bit about creating parts. SolidWorks is what's known as a parametric modeler, and essentially what this means, or what you need to know from this, is that it's feature based. So we're going to be creating a series of different features and building off those features to create the parts and assemblies that we want to generate. Almost all our features are going to be, at least initially, sketch based. So we're going to start off with a 2D sketch and generally create some 3D geometry from it. There are quite a few different ways to model most parts. There's usually not just one way to create a part. There's quite a few, and you'll figure out what works best for you. For example, if I drop a sketch on the front plane, and while I'm working, notice that as I click on certain things, there'll be menus that pop up that are there to help you through the process of modeling. And it also saves you quite a bit of time in terms of mouse travel. Right now I'm in my Sketch tab, but I'll also mostly be working with the S key, and this will bring up the Shortcuts toolbar. And I'm going to go ahead and choose a circle and click that in. And I use the Smart Dimension tool to create a circle, or create a diameter of 1 inch. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on any of these tools. These will be covered in a much larger detail in the part modeling section of SolidWorks. So if this all seems a little bit quick to you, it's all covered there. And that's the next section you'll want to go to. So once I create the circle, I can create an extrusion. And right now I'm going to show initially two different ways to create the exact same set of features. Everything we create is going to be created from a series of positive and negative features. So just like I created an extrusion, I can also create what's known as an extruded cut to cut through this part. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this face again, and you'll notice that it went normal to it. I just hit the space bar and double clicked on normal to. I'll click on the face again so I can choose the contact sensitive menu here, and I'll choose a sketch again. Once again, I'm going to choose the circle tool, which I can choose from the sketch tab or the S key, or I can right click in and choose the circle tool. And once again I'm going to hit S, use the Smart Dimension tool, and give this a dimension of 3/4 of an inch. And create another extrusion. And once again, I'm going to create a sketch on this face, another circle, and then I'm going to use the Smart Dimension tool to once again give this a diameter. And I'll just create an extruded cut from this. You'll notice you can create a dimension in this box, or you can use this arrow to drag this out. I'll also further discuss the end conditions available in the part section. So this is one way in which you can create this very simple part, building each feature on top of another. Another method that's commonly used is to actually create this as though this is the piece of stock that you'd be working with, and then remove material away to create that same geometry. So in this case, I can go ahead and create a sketch on this face. I'm going to create that Same feature as before, but in this case we're going to be using the extruded cut. And this is going to be 1/2 of an inch. And we're going to choose an option called flip side to cut to get that same cutaway. And then once again, if we wanted, we could create the bore by creating another sketch and an extruded cut. So those are two ways in which you can build this, by building it up from the bottom or taking it from the entire stock and then cutting away. You can also build that exact same part as a revolve. And the way a revolve is going to work is that you'll create a sketch, and then revolve it about one of the lines in the sketch. And you can achieve the same geometry. In this case, we can create all three of those features in the same feature. And you're going to choose which method to use based on your design intent. So if I need to update certain features individually, then I probably want to create this separately. But if I want to, or if I have a very simple profile and I'm just going to be changing a few dimensions, I can create this as a revolve. But this is a brief intro into creating parts. I'll go into a lot more detail in the part modeling section.